My name is Logan Carter, and I've spent the last 15 years transforming a small family business into an empire. When my father passed away, Carter Enterprises was a modest company, barely sustained by my mother's insecure decisions. I took control, made sacrifices, worked tirelessly, and turned the company into a market behemoth. In the eyes of the world, I was the one responsible for the 10 million Brazilian reals turnover we were celebrating that night. The gala event was held in the main ballroom of one of the city's most luxurious hotels. It was a celebration of our success, a toast to what we had built, or what I believed I had built. Dressed in an impeccable suit, I smiled and shook hands, greeting investors and business partners. Madeline, my younger sister, was also present, circulating through the ballroom in an expensive dress and a controlled smile. I never fully trusted Madeline. She had always been ambitious, but never showed any real interest in managing the company. At least, not until that night. The event was running as planned, until the master of ceremonies announced that Madeline would be making a speech. I wasn't prepared for that. There was nothing in the script about her speaking. So I leaned against the bar and watched, curious, as she took the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, with a smile I knew well. It was the smile of someone about to drop a bomb. "Today, we are not just celebrating a milestone in the history of Carter Enterprises. We are taking a step forward into the future." That phrase made me frown. A step forward? With the company's rapid growth, the time has come for new leadership to take command. And it is with great honor that I announce that, starting tomorrow, I will be officially assuming the presidency of Carter Enterprises. The room erupted in restrained applause, mixed with confused murmurs. I froze. Starting tomorrow? What did that mean? Madeline looked directly at me, with a cold glint in her eyes. She knew I had no idea what was happening. And that was exactly what she wanted. I stood up immediately, feeling my heart pound against my chest. I looked at the board members, seeking some explanation, but some looked away. Others looked uncomfortable, as if they knew this shouldn't be happening this way. That's when I saw my mother. Olivia Carter was sitting at the main table, her face impassive. She wasn't surprised. She knew. The tightness in my chest turned into something darker. A betrayal so well orchestrated that they didn't even give me the right to fight for my position. I took a deep breath. I wouldn't cause a scene there, in front of everyone. If Madeline thought she could catch me off guard and take me down with that, she was mistaken. I finished my drink in one gulp, adjusted my suit, and left the ballroom, ignoring the looks and whispers around me. If they thought that was the end of the story, they were about to discover that I was never one to accept defeat. The day dawned cold and gray, but inside me, what was burning was an uncontrollable fire. I woke up before the alarm, my mind racing and my stomach churning. Everything I had built, years of sacrifice and work, had been ripped away from me in a single night. But if Madeline thought I would simply accept defeat, she was sorely mistaken. I put on a dark suit and went straight to the Carter Enterprises headquarters. I wanted to face this head-on, understand the extent of the blow. As soon as I arrived at the building, something was different. The security guard at the entrance hesitated before greeting me. The look he gave me was one of embarrassment. I walked past the reception and typed my access code into the elevator. Access denied? My stomach churned. "It must be a mistake," I muttered, trying again. Access denied? Before I could react, a receptionist approached, nervous. "Mr. Carter, I was asked to inform you that your access has been revoked." My blood ran cold. "Revoked?" She swallowed hard and looked away. "Ms. Madeline Carter gave direct orders." The anger that coursed through me was so intense that my hands tingled. I wanted to go up. I wanted to get into my office. I wanted to pin Madeline against the wall and demand answers. But then the elevator door opened and Nathan Reed came out. He saw me and came straight to me, his face filled with concern. "Logan, not here. Let's talk somewhere else." I took a deep breath, trying to contain the urge to explode right there. I nodded, and we left the building together. The perfect coup. We sat in a cafe a few blocks away. Nathan ordered a black coffee, and I didn't even look at the menu. My mind was too occupied with the betrayal. "Did you know?" I asked directly. "Of course not," he answered immediately. "I found out when I arrived this morning, and they saw your name had been removed from the system. Logan, Madeline planned this for months." I leaned forward. "Explain." Nathan sighed. "Ever since your father died, the board has always been divided. Many supported you, but others saw you as problematic. Too demanding, too aggressive. They preferred Madeline because they thought she would be more controllable." "Controllable? She doesn't know how to manage a coffee shop, let alone a multinational company. But she has the support of the right investors." Nathan took a sip of his coffee. "She used Carter Enterprises' numbers against you. Said your management model was stagnant, that your authoritarian way was turning away opportunities. She gathered a group of influential shareholders and, with your mother's approval, secured a majority on the board." The mention of Olivia turned my anger into something deeper. "My mother was part of this?" Nathan hesitated, but eventually nodded. "She knew. I don't know for how long, but she knew." I clenched my fists on the table. "And me? What was left for me?" Nathan was silent for a moment before answering. "Nothing, Logan. You were raised from Carter Enterprises." I swallowed hard. I knew Madeline was ambitious, but I never imagined she would have the courage to take me out of the company I built. But if she thought that was the end, she was very mistaken. "I need a plan," I murmured. Nathan looked me in the eyes. "And what is the first step?" I took a deep breath. "Find a way to destroy everything she stole from me." Carter Enterprises may have been ripped away from me, but I still had something more valuable than any boardroom: my mind. Everything that made that company worth billions came from me: my vision, my strategies, my connections. If Madeline thought she would bring me down by pushing me away from the company, she was about to discover what it really meant to be at war. In the days following the coup, I isolated myself from the world. I refused interviews, blocked unnecessary contacts, and focused only on the essential: a revenge plan. Nathan Reed was the first to join me. "I can't stay in there anymore," he said, sitting in my apartment with a glass of whiskey in his hand. "Madeline is changing everything, firing your old allies, hiring people who think like her." "Perfect," I replied. "Perfect? Logan, she's reinforcing control. And in doing so, she's creating enemies." Nathan stared at me for a moment before breaking into a discreet smile. He understood. Madeline was so worried about consolidating power that she didn't realize she was throwing away the people who made the company grow. "What do you have in mind?" he asked. I took my laptop and opened a file with the information I had gathered over the past few days. "A billion-dollar contract is about to be closed with Vertex Technologies, one of the largest technology companies in the country. Madeline is betting everything on this to legitimize her leadership. If she loses this contract, investor confidence will collapse. And you want to steal this contract from her?" "No," I replied, smiling. "I want to do something even worse: create a new company and make Carter Enterprises irrelevant." Nathan let out a low whistle. "That's bold. I'm not just going to defeat her. I'm going to erase the Carter name from the market." That's when Derek Lawson entered the game. The secret investor. Derek Lawson was a shark. A high-risk investor who loved dangerous bets and had the money to fund any project that intrigued him. We set up a meeting at a discreet restaurant, away from the spotlight. He arrived at the exact time, wearing an impeccable suit and a calculated smile. "Logan Carter," he said, shaking my hand. "You must be going through hell right now, and I'm ready to come out of it stronger than ever." "I like the attitude," he replied, sitting down. "What do you have for me?" I opened my laptop and showed him the plan. A new company, built to surpass Carter Enterprises in every aspect. A modern, flexible, technological model that would conquer a market that Madeline didn't even know existed. Derek analyzed every detail carefully, without interrupting. When I finished, he closed the laptop and stared at me. "You didn't come here to ask for investment, did you?" "No," I replied. "I came to offer you the chance to become a partner in the next great empire." He laughed, satisfied. "I'm in." And that's how Phoenix Technologies was born. The first step. In the following weeks, we gathered an elite team. Engineers, developers, market strategists, all attracted by the promise of something revolutionary. And, of course, former Carter Enterprises employees that Madeline discarded without a second thought. While Phoenix Technologies grew, Carter Enterprises began to feel the first signs of instability. And I knew it was only a matter of time before Madeline realized that her worst nightmare was just beginning. The first signs of the counterattack started subtly. Small attacks behind the scenes, pressure on customers and suppliers not to do business with Phoenix Technologies. Madeline still had influence and knew how to use it. But she underestimated one thing. I expected exactly that type of reaction. Nathan monitored the behind-the-scenes happenings at Carter Enterprises and kept me informed. "She's furious," he said, dropping a pile of documents on my new office desk. "The board is starting to question her. Since you left, Carter Enterprises has lost more customers than it's gained." I smiled when I heard that. "And the contract with Vertex Technologies?" "Still in dispute." "You're right. Madeline is desperate to secure this contract. If she loses, she can say goodbye to investor confidence." I knew Madeline would do anything not to lose that contract. But I also knew something she didn't. She had already lost. The dirty game begins. Madeline's attacks intensified. Journalists began to publish defamatory articles about me and Phoenix Technologies. Some companies that had shown interest in working with us suddenly started to back down. But the dirtiest blow came from where I least expected, my past. An article was published on a major business portal. "The real Logan Carter, the deposed CEO who wants to destroy his own family." The article talked about my uncontrolled ambition, insinuated that I had always wanted to get Madeline out of the way, and suggested that I wasn't the genius behind Carter Enterprises, but just someone who got lucky. I knew exactly who was behind that. "She's playing dirty," I muttered, closing my laptop. Nathan snorted. "What did you expect? Madeline has always played dirty. But this only means one thing. She's scared." And he was right. The information that would change everything. I was already ready to counterattack, but Nathan brought a new piece of the puzzle that changed everything. "I got something big," he said, tossing a pen drive onto the table. "What is this?" "Evidence. Internal documents from Carter Enterprises. Madeline is manipulating financial reports to keep investors calm. She's lying about the numbers." I picked up the pen drive, feeling the adrenaline rush through my body. "This could ruin her." "Exactly." Madeline thought she was in control, that she could destroy me with rumors and manipulation. But I had something much more powerful, the truth, and I was about to use it. If Madeline wanted a war, now she would have a battle on two fronts, one in the market and another in court. The pen drive that Nathan gave me contained everything I needed. Falsified reports, manipulated numbers, and contracts signed without due audit. Madeline was holding up Carter Enterprises with lies. This not only put the company at risk, but could also result in serious legal charges. "This is total destruction," said Nathan, as we analyzed the documents. And I wasn't the one who started it, I replied, closing the folder. But I'll finish it. The attack in the market. Before exposing Madeline publicly, I decided to intensify our offensive in the market. Phoenix Technologies accelerated its campaigns and brought strategic customers to our side. Carter Enterprises' name began to lose credibility, and rumors about internal instability grew. The heaviest blow came when one of Carter Enterprises' most important investors announced their departure and invested in Phoenix. This caused the stock to plummet. Madeline tried to react with public statements and promises of innovation, but no one trusted empty words. The market demanded results, and the numbers were against her. The lawsuit? That's when we dropped the bomb. I hired a team of lawyers and took all the evidence to court. We filed a formal complaint against Carter Enterprises and Madeline Carter for financial fraud and mismanagement. The news exploded in the media. Headlines everywhere. Carter Enterprises involved in financial fraud scandal. Madeline Carter under investigation. Is the empire crumbling? Ex-CEO Logan Carter exposes irregularities at company he founded. Inside Carter Enterprises, the board panicked. Investors began to withdraw funds, contracts were canceled, and confidence in the company plummeted. Madeline contacted me. "Have you gone crazy?" she shouted, bursting into my office. "This could destroy the company." I crossed my arms and looked at her coldly. "I didn't destroy anything, Maddie. You did it yourself." She slammed her hands on the table. "You're digging your own grave. If Carter Enterprises falls, you'll go down with it." I approached her and smiled. "I'm already out of Carter Enterprises. And you? How much longer do you think you can hold on?" She left furious, but I knew that was the beginning of the end for her. Now, all that was left was the final blow. Madeline was cornered. The financial fraud scandal destroyed her credibility, and Carter Enterprises was in free fall. Investors, once her allies, now saw her as a risk. The board, which had supported her to remove me from command, was already discussing her replacement. And me? I just watched. I didn't need to force anything. She was sinking on her own. Nathan updated me daily on the damage. "The shareholders want an immediate solution. The stock has fallen another 30% this week. If this continues, the company won't survive another 3 months. And the board?" Nathan smiled. "They're asking for a new CEO. And guess who's the only person who can restore market confidence?" Madeline fought until the last moment. She called emergency meetings, tried to negotiate with investors, but no one wanted to listen to her anymore. When the board finally voted for her removal, she knew she had lost. The irrefutable offer. The next day, I received a call from one of the board members. "Logan, Carter Enterprises needs you. We're willing to negotiate your immediate return." I allowed myself a moment to savor that phrase. For years, I had dedicated myself to this company, and one day they simply threw me out as if I were disposable. Now, they were begging for my return. But I didn't just want to go back. I wanted it to be on my terms. "I want a meeting with the entire board," I demanded. "And I want Madeline to be present." On the appointed day, I entered the meeting room where I had been so many times. The faces there were familiar, but the expressions were different. There was tension in the air, anticipation. Madeline was sitting at the head of the table, her face pale, but still trying to maintain her composure. "Mr. Carter," began one of the board members, "the company needs a strong leader to survive this crisis. We want you to resume your position as CEO." I crossed my arms. "Under what conditions?" "Full control. No interference. You will make the necessary decisions to save the company." I thought for a moment before smiling. "I accept, but with one condition." The board members looked at each other. I want to buy Carter Enterprises. For my price. Madeline stood up abruptly. That's absurd. You want to steal the company from our family. I looked directly at her. You already did that to me, remember? She was speechless. The board, on the other hand, was willing to do anything to save their investments. And I knew that, with the company in that state, my offer was the only way out. A few hours later, the decision was formalized. Carter Enterprises was now mine again. Madeline left without looking back. She knew her empire was over. The final blow. In the following days, I made the ultimate move. I announced the merger of Carter Enterprises with Phoenix Technologies. The Carter name, which my sister had fought so hard to protect, would disappear from the market forever. In a press conference, a reporter asked me, Mr. Carter, now that you've recovered everything, what comes next? I smiled and replied, I haven't recovered everything. I've built something even bigger. And this is just the first phase. The end of Carter Enterprises was not an explosive event, but a gradual fading away. After the merger with Phoenix Technologies, the Carter name disappeared from the market as if it had never existed. Madeline, defeated, disappeared from the media. She tried to launch a smaller investment fund, but without credibility, no one trusted her. The same investors who had flattered her in the past now avoided her. And me? I didn't look back. A new empire. Phoenix Technologies grew rapidly, conquering the market with innovation and intelligence. Customers who were once trapped by Carter Enterprises now trusted me completely. You did the impossible, said Nathan, looking at the new growth projections. You completely erased their legacy. I just smiled. But it wasn't just about business. Madeline tried to destroy me. My own mother stood by her side. Everyone thought I would simply accept being erased. But now, there was nothing they could do to stop me. The last meeting. Months later, Madeline asked to meet me. I found it strange, but I agreed. She was waiting for me in a discreet restaurant, very different from the luxurious events of before. Her gaze was tired. So you got everything you wanted, she said. I crossed my arms. No, Maddie. I got everything you wanted. The difference is that I knew how to keep it. She sighed, defeated. And now? I looked at her for a moment. Madeline had always been ambitious, but she never knew when to stop. Now, there was nothing left for her to fight for. Now I move on, I replied. And you? She forced a smile. I'll manage. I always have. I didn't respond. I got up, left money for the bill, and left. She was no longer part of my story. The future. Years later, Phoenix Technologies dominated the market. My name was a reference, my empire was solid, and my legacy was consolidated. I learned a valuable lesson. Success is not just about achieving something, but ensuring that no one can take it from you. I didn't just recover what was mine. I transformed it into something bigger. And now, the whole world knew it.
Hi, you are on the Moving Narratives channel. Subscribe and follow our stories.